How many of you have or are currently enrolled in an American public school within the past 70 years? Please raise your hand. Every single one of you have been tracked. Now, and there's a lot of reasons for that, but first let's talk about what tracking is. Tracking, by definition, is the separation of pupils by academic merit. We have 3 tracks that we are separated into. We have high performing, average, and below average. This is the reason why we have AP classes, honors, CP, and standards. And this all happens in the 4th grade. Yes, you are separated into an academic track in 4th grade, somewhere up in the Department of Education in Sacramento, or even your local elementary school office. You are being separated into a track. Now, I'd like to spend today to talk about 3 students and their journeys through tracking. The first student is our high-performing student, Madison. Madison, as you can probably see, is pretty impressive. Straight A's, leaders in her extracurriculars, full AP schedule. Madison is the ideal product of tracking, where they have created a leader who knows what she wants to do. Madison is hoping to enroll in a university next year, studying neuroscience and specifically stem cells to find a cure for Alzheimer's. Really impressive. Next, we have Ray. Ray is not as smart as Madison, but by all definitions, still pretty smart. He has a couple AP classes, he's getting good grades, and he doesn't have nearly as a rigorous schedule as Madison, but is still pretty hardworking. Ray is one of the downfalls of tracking. Ray wants to go to a university next year. He's hoping to enroll in bio, but he doesn't know what he wants to do in bio, and he doesn't know what university will accept him. Lastly, we have Matt. Matt is, by all definitions in the education mumbo-jumbo, standard. Matt is the average Joe. Nothing's really expected of Matt, and Matt doesn't really want anything expected of him either. He just coasts through life, or coasts through school, and he's actually one of the funnest and most interesting people I've ever talked to. So let's talk about Madison. Madison and every single high-performing student has one common characteristic. They are all determined to succeed. They will shed blood, sweat, and tears to get into that prestigious university so that they can follow their passion, if they have one. But there are also a couple downfalls associated with putting so much stress upon these students. High pressure and anxiety can occur when a student maybe takes on too much because everybody else is taking on that much. They could start getting really competitive, and maybe they don't match up to everybody around them. So then they start resorting to drugs, maybe violence, depression, maybe they're isolated. But one of the most recurring things is some of them just simply wash out. One of these examples is Ray. Ray is smart, but not smart enough. Freshman year, he was enrolled in all honors classes at Westlake High School. His first quarter, he received a C+ in geometry honors. And then he was dropped to geometry CP. Quick and simple. Ray decided that he wanted to get back into Algebra 2 honors and be with all the people that, by all means, were his friends and his competitors. So Ray studied, he applied himself, and he got A's in both semesters of his geometry CP class, then petitioned to our school to be placed into Algebra 2 honors the following year. Long story short, his petition was denied. Now, Ray's denial was not because the school didn't like him. It was that the school didn't have enough resources to invest in a potential liability such as Ray. So Ray was caught between 2 tracks. He was caught between the above average and the average. He was taking classes with both. Now, often, when that happens, Ray and other students caught between the 2 tracks start to become unmotivated because there's no way they can compete with high-performing students like Madison. And they're surrounded by people that aren't as smart as them in the average tracks. So then they start becoming unmotivated and start lowering their ambitions and fall down to the average track. Next, we have Matt. Matt, the average guy. Matt's happy. He has a really, when I asked him about his high school experience, he was but he said it was a good time. He's going to enroll in our local community college as a business major, and he's going to go through life. And he's all right with that. He goes to school, but nothing seems to matter to him when he shows up to school because he's going to go into business. What does science have to do with that? So nothing seems to matter for him. And that's one of the problems. The US economy is growing exponentially in the high pay, high skill category. It's also becoming more of a service economy. Now, Matt in the middle are usually, we're supposed to, post-World War II, fulfill the job of managing and being accountants. But now we don't seem to have that many jobs for them anymore. What jobs we do have are engineering and programming. Those jobs that Apple and Google seem to open up to everybody aren't being filled domestically, so they have to go overseas to China, India, and Latin America to fulfill those jobs. Cracking was originally created post-World War II for these statistics. All right. So 20% of the students were thought to be doctors and lawyers. 20% were thought to be skilled workers, and 60% were meant to go into the factories and work on the farms. I don't know about you, but I don't know how many farm and factory workers there are in America today, but I'm pretty sure it's not 60%. The US is evolving, but our education system is still the same. We need to end student tracking. We need to evolve our education system to match what everybody else is doing so that we don't fall behind. I would like you all to take out a smartphone, or perhaps email me later, of one potential idea you have for ending student tracking, because perhaps one of those ideas will lead to the end of it. Thank you.